A very interesting group coming off the Centennial hosting duties last year. They made some moves. They're a little bit younger, but I don't think anybody's sleeping on the Terriers. Your thoughts early on the green and white?
Well, the Portage Terriers are a perennial contender behind Blake Spiller and his crew that do a great job procuring players from across the country and the US. They always seem to be able to tear down and build up in no time at all. And this year shouldn't be any different. They have some great prospects in their pipeline. I've had the ability to watch them kind of develop in the last few years. And there's no reason to expect why the Terriers won't be a powerhouse in this year's iteration of the Manitoba Junior Hockey League.
Yeah, they had big time scoring last year. I think they might be a little bit more balanced this year. I really like the ad of Parker Corman, pardon me. I really like the sneaky good ad of Nathan Lanoski. He put up, I think, 4 points in a preseason game. That kid is going to be good. The question is their defense, which they really relied on last year for a lot of offense, is that going to be good enough to get them where they want to go?
That'll be the tough test because this year a lot of the other teams have retooled on defense. A number of other teams are rebuilding, so it's going to be interesting to see. But they have a lot, like you said, the balance is there. One of their young up and comers is Brett Magarel, and I think he's going to be a fantastic addition to that roster. And I'm have no doubt that they'll find ways to score goals. The other test will be, can they keep them out of their net and goaltending? Because another thing you have to look at is how to fill those gaps as well.
Yeah, you look at it, they got a number of former Titans on their roster this year, including Gavin Renwick, and Jaden Catelier is going to maybe, they may split early on until somebody grabs the ball, similar to what Catelier had to deal with last year. Where do you think his mind is at? He's never really been the incumbent starter. This might be his best chance.
I think so. I mean, he's a good goaltender. He has the skill to do that. So in this case, maybe it'll be obviously he'll be chased. Like they always want to create some sort of competition in that role. But I think he finally has a chance to maybe grab the reins and see how far he can take it. And last year in spurts, we saw him stop the puck with amazing fashion, amazing skill, and I think he'll do a good job there for the Terriers.
How much is the pressure of hosting the Centennial Cup no longer being a part of the equation? How much is that going to help the Terriers? Because it had to weigh on them last year. I mean, they get bounced in the second round by a very hardworking, scrappy Verdant team. Then they fall short of the Centennial Cup final. Just putting that all in the rear view, how much is that going to make an impact for this Terriers club?
Well, it's got to be a huge distraction, maybe more for a guy like Cody Bueller that has to organize all that stuff. But from a team standpoint, there is a lot of pressure because now you're not just in your provincial capacity, you're on the national stage. There's a lot more that comes with that. There's a lot of eyes that are watching you, and it's got to be in the back of your mind because as a perennial contender, like we've talked about, comes the expectation of a high degree of performance. So that has to weigh on you. It's got to be in the back of your mind. But these are all professionals too. They know what they're doing, and they get to business in good form.
You think the fans will tolerate another, even second round playoff loss, or is the expectation for this club to get to the MJHL finals? And, Portage fans specifically are expecting more things out of this club.
It probably, I mean, with a fan base like that, that's come to expect, a high degree of performance on the ice and a really good product when it comes to what they showcase. They have a fantastic facility, and they do have some pretty solid diehard fans, like we know with the Golden Boy there and his continuous barking throughout the hockey game.
He's gonna love that he got a shout out in this, that's for sure.
So I did it on purpose. But I think with the community that they have in Portage, that organization is built on success. I think that's come to be the standard expectation, and I don't think anything will change from that this year.
Blake Spiller, head coach, is set to overtake top spot as winningest coach in Manitoba Junior Hockey League history. He's going to walk into the Manitoba Sport Hall of Fame when it's all said and done, but doesn't show signs of slowing down. Just your thoughts on Spiller as a coach in the MJHL?
He's super fantastic. I love chatting with him. He's a dynamic individual. He's super funny too, and obviously very knowledgeable about the sport. And the community of Portage and the Portage Terriers are lucky to have someone like him. And he's been great for the league too, because as the Portage Terriers go, much like we've talked about, you and I, about the Steinbach Pistons, they're the benchmark that everybody strives to be. And I think someone like him just raises that bar and forces everybody else in the league to be better and strive for that level of success. So I think he's a fantastic individual, great hockey mind, and yeah, just someone to look up to in the industry.
One of the things about Portage is they do things very quietly. They're not, making announcements throughout the summer. You really don't know who they're bringing in other than trades from different leagues. So it's hard to pinpoint exactly where they're going to be. I think they want to be younger. I think they want to, grow over the next couple of years. But I can still see them as being that sneaky team that was, fighting for maybe a last playoff spot that ends up being a team that's really hard down the stretch and a really hard outcome playoff time.
I think so. Like the parity in this league, the needle's been moving towards a more equal balance throughout the course of the season. You look at the top tiered teams, and everybody else has had to up their game. So I think that is going to be. I think the playoff race is going to be heat up a little earlier. I think it's going to be a lot tighter come Christmas time, and down the stretch is going to be obviously the fans win, like we talk about. It's going to be one of those things where everybody's going to have to up their game, and the nights where you know you need those 2 points, you got to go fight for them. There's no easy nights off in the MJHL this year.
And it's been a cliche for a while that good teams have targets on their back, and we can go up and down the entire league and say this team wants to knock off this team, and even in regular season games. But the Portage Terriers winning in Portage has always meant a little bit more. So especially home ice, they're going to have to be ready for every team's best.
But it's a tough building to play in. They have great fan support. It's a pretty central location, so I've always liked it from my standpoint, be it for the Winkler Flyers or the Niverville Nighthawks. It's a easy rink to get to, and it's a beautiful rink to watch a game in. So, but it's very tough. They have very good fan support. It's a close building. You feel like you're playing right on top of everybody from that ice surface, and yeah, it's not going to be an easy 2 points for anybody to march in there and grab 2 points.